very good morning to you. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from. Yes, so you are live on Esteem Radio Vision, and this is the CONFAB, where we discuss top political issues, trending stories on social media in our nation, Nigeria. Today we are here again to discuss about three major stories here. Very interesting ones. I may not really call it interesting because there's still one that is very sad. Yes, I am Chidinma Abel, and I will be discussing this interesting stories with an analyst here in the person of Ajiboye, Ohunayo. Ajiboye, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Chidinma. And interesting, you got my name right today.
Oh my God, don't worry. I'll get more of such names. You know, I'm still getting used to it. Okay, so Ajiboye, how are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing very great. What about you?
How's the weather? Let me just finish with you before I talk about my own.
The weather?
How is the weather? Yes. Do you like the weather here?
I do not like the weather at all.
Oh my God, why?
December has almost ended and we have not seen Harmattan yet. Come on, where's the cold? Where's the shivering? Where's the cold breath? Where's that waking up in the morning and just wanting to stay in bed, you know? I'm missing, that's how you know the December is actually, let me use this word, Decembering, you know?
Oh, it is Decembering, but in your own perspective now,
right
it is not Decembering.
It is not at all.
Viewers, this man analysis is just so funny. I mean, fun to be with. And I believe you're going to enjoy his stay here.
I'm sure the viewers will agree with me that this December is not Decembering. There's no December without Harmattan.
I think it's just in our area. Yes, because as somebody was telling me that in the north, it is very cold as we speak. But I don't know why this side, it is not Decembering, just like you said.
I think our scientists should work. Yeah, we need to exchange weathers.
All right, viewers, stay with us and make sure you react to what you are hearing now. React, comment. You can even share it. Yes, you're free to do that. And keep following Esteem Radio Vision. We are here and we'll always be here for you to give you trending stories, analyze it for you. We are not just here to give it to you. We are here to inform you. We are here to enlighten you. So do well to continue to follow us. Okay, this morning on the CONFAB, we have three major interesting stories here. We have the one that features the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association, and then Atiku as well. I mean, two of them are, you know, throwing weight around each other. The NBA and Atiku are throwing their weight around each other. Both of them have come together. They've merged to demand that the new tax law be suspended. As a Nigerian, I believe you know what the new tax law is all about. Even if you don't know it in detail, I know that you have actually come across it. You've heard it either on TV, on radio, or just as we are here, you must have heard it from us, the new tax law. So the NBA and Atiku have called on the suspension of the new tax law. This is one of the stories that will be making the list this morning on the CONFAB. Away from that, we also have another interesting story talking about the federal government ordering the taking down of terrorist social media accounts. The federal government have come to tackle terrorists. They want to take down their social media accounts. And you know, when we talk about social media accounts, we mean both Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of those social media put together. The federal government said they want to take down terrorist social media accounts. And what does this tell us? I mean, you know, definitely this will have a great impact. It could be positive, it could be negative. Just stay with us. You are going to know how this thing is going to roll. And then the third story, this one, you've been hearing about it on social media because it's been making wave. It's been trending. The Pastor Chris Okafor saga, or feud, should I say his feud with actress Doris Ogala. And this is even the one we've been majoring this morning on the CONFAB, the Pastor Chris story. We've been majoring more on the Pastor Chris story and Doris Ogala because this particular one mixes with faith, power, and so many other things. That's why we really want to balance the equation by majoring on it. Okay, let me come with this, the Doris Ogala story. You know, I don't know whether you have been following the story. But I believe that even if you don't know the latest or the updates on the story, I'm going to be hinting you on that. I'm going to be briefing you, relating the latest to you this morning. Pastor Kafo, you know, he's the founder of the Mountain of Liberation and Miracle Ministry. He went ahead and married his new heartthrob. The sugar in his tea, the butter in his bread. And some people will even ask the cockroach in his cupboard. He married his new wife in a ceremony that took place on Tuesday, December 16th, this December that we are, in Lekki, Lagos. And what's this Doris Ogala's allegation and legal action? Following the wedding, actress Doris Ogala, who claims to have left her husband for this same pastor, Pastor Kafo, she claimed she left her own husband for Pastor Chris Okafo and had a miscarriage for Pastor Chris. Then, after the wedding, she issued a formal legal demand for 1 billion naira in damages. She alleges that the pastor ruined her life and career, and so she's seeking for redress for emotional and psychological harm. Now, Doris Ogala also made explosive claims that Pastor Chris' new marriage was forced because the bride was allegedly sexually assaulted and became pregnant, a situation the bride's mother, who is reportedly a choir coordinator in the same church, that's in Pastor Kafo's church. She said she alleged that the mother wanted to cover it up. Now, Pastor Kafo's response, in a sermon, Pastor Kafo addressed the controversy subtly, stating that he will not even dignify a mad devil. That's the way he put it. Now, when I say this, I am quoting Pastor Chris Okafo. He said, and I quote, he said he's not going to dignify a mad devil. That's referring to Doris Ogala's claim. He said he's not going to respond. He's not going to dignify her with a response. Now, suggesting he will not comment further on Mrs. Ogala's claims. Now, about the wedding, a lot of things, people have been saying a lot of things, ministers, non-ministers. I mean, this has drawn controversies from different quarters. People have been talking, why would a minister of God officiate this wedding? Why would Christian Association of Nigeria keep quiet? I mean, with this kind of allegation that this actress raised, should such a wedding still take place? The wedding was attended by several prominent Christian leaders. I don't know whether if you saw the wedding pictures or the video.
I did. I saw
and you saw the massive attendance.
I mean, Pastor Chris Okafo is a very popular pastor, not just on social media, but also in Lagos particularly.
Now, the wedding was attended by several prominent, well-known, renowned Christian leaders, including Bishop Isaac Idahosa, Pastor Ashimolowo, and Bishop Ida Peterside. They were all present to lend their support to the union. Subsequently, Doris was arrested and later released, although sources allege that Pastor Chris went on his knees asking Doris to allow peace to reign. We don't know how true this is, although. So activists like VDM, I don't know, you should know VDM, is a very prominent person and influential activist. He has waded into the matter, throwing his weight around Doris Ogala. He described the arrest as an attempt to destroy evidence while revealing that he has communicated with the actress and has all evidence in his possession. So now, coming to you now,
okay,
Ajiboye.
All right.
You know, this story mixes with faith, it mixes with power, it mixes with the law, and even public opinion. Why has it generated so much intense public debates?
Well, you have to look at Nigeria in the cultural setting, first of all. You see, culturally in Nigeria now, we have two courts. There is the court of law and the court of public opinion.
Okay, two courts. Court of law, court of public opinion. Viewers, I hope you're taking note of all these things.
So one of the things about Nigeria, one of the peculiarities about Nigeria is when it comes to Nigeria, we usually don't really practice this particular point of law, which says innocent until proven guilty. We don't. Most of the times, especially when it's a trending matter and it involves two easily recognized personalities, popular personalities, celebrities, political office holders, you know, billionaires, millionaires, actors, actresses. Once you have a level of fame, or you're a sort of influential person, when you find yourself in this kind of situation, just know that you are being tried by two courts. There's the legal one, the court of law, and you are also being tried by the court of public opinion. Look, you may win in the court of law, but lose in the court of public opinion.
Whoa, that's an interesting one.
One of the reasons why this has generated such intense public reaction is that you have to look at it. This is, we are in Nigeria, and if you look at the trend recently, you see that there's been a lot of vitriol online being targeted at the Church of Christ, you know. Christians have been coming under a lot of fire, you know, for a lot of things. You know, there has been so many things here, so many things there. You hear, oh, this church, this one happened, one pastor did this, one pastor did that. And, you know, there's a lot of questions. People are asking if truly the church is the house of God, if truly the church is the body of Christ, why do we keep having these scandals, let me say, come up every time against the church? And what are the Christians, what are the people in the church? Because, you know, according to the Bible, we are the church, not the pastors, not the head, not the leaders, not whatever, not the people that are given titles in the church. The people that attend the church are the church. So what do you do? What are you guys doing to curb this, to make sure that this doesn't happen again? So now when a story like this came out the first time, you know, there were mixed reactions. Some people felt, oh, she must have been jilted.
Due to the wedding that...
Due to the wedding. And, you know, a lot of people, there were actually reasonable opinions online this time, you know, for
because
the first
she
time.
claimed she was used and dumped.
Yeah, because she claimed she was used and dumped. And this year and last year, you know, we've seen this trend of women, ladies, you know, accusing men of a lot of things and then eventually being proven to be false. It has happened a lot between last year and this year. So I feel like netizens were actually a bit more fair this time, you know. They were actually more fair. They leaned towards the side of the pastor. They tried to balance the two sides. They were like, no, we can't just take your word for it. We need evidence and we have to hear from this side. Before, they would have gone all blazing.
They would have taken everything hook, line and sinker.
Yeah, but, you know, then suddenly she released evidence, a video online, you know, that contains supposedly the Pastor Chris Okafor's nudes. And, you know, social media blew up like, oh,
what fire.
She has evidence. She has evidence. And that's what we've been talking about, evidence. Now she has evidence, but the evidence is not conclusive enough. What that proves is that indeed they had a relationship and the pastor jilted her. Now, we don't know the reasons for jilting her. We don't know the reasons why he decided to marry someone else. And, you know, if we venture into the relationship side of things, there can be many reasons why a man would get into a relationship with a woman and decide that I'm not proceeding with marriage. It happens on the other side too. We've seen cases where a woman and a man are set to get married and then the woman changes her mind and she's like, no, I'm not ready for this relationship. I believe our listeners at home, viewers at home, you can agree with this. That you might, the wedding might even be 5 minutes to the weddings. We have had people change their mind.
It has happened, yes.
We've had people change their mind. So is that enough reason for her to act as she did? So there's a lot of things going on. Some are looking at it from the perspective of faith. Some are looking at it from the perspective of power. He's not just a pastor. If he was the pastor of a small church, I don't think it would be this popular. But he's not just a pastor. He's a popular and influential pastor. So there's a dynamic of power there. You know, then there's the law. What does the law actually say about relationships? That you get into a relationship with a woman and eventually you don't marry her. What does the law actually say about it? Is it something that you should be crucified for? After all, you may have your reasons. And finally, like I said, public opinion. There are two courts in Nigeria. There's the court of law and the court of what? Public opinion. Now, when it comes to religion, you know Nigerians are always hyperactive. This country is the most religious country, though if you look at the statistics, I don't know, religion has not really helped that well. But this country is very religious. So when it comes to things of religion, Nigerians are quick on it. One of the biggest reasons why this topic is trending so much is because a pastor is involved. A pastor is involved.
Okay. So, all right, you wanted to conclude.
Yeah, I wanted to conclude. So one of the things is when you mix religion, you mix it with relationship matters, and then you involve the law. definitely. It's like a chef in the kitchen. You have mixed all the right ingredients. Nigerians will combust. It will trend.
You know one thing? You said people respond differently when issues like this concerns the pastors, religious leaders. They respond differently. So I want to know, and I believe our viewers too want to know, should moral expectations for religious leaders be higher than for public figures in other sectors?
Well, an English adage said, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Right? So I want to believe that before you take up a responsibility, this is not just for religious leaders, political leaders. Once you take up the responsibility of leadership in any form, whether religious, political, civil, even for something as low as being the leader in your class. You could be a primary school student and you're the class monitor. The moment you take on the role of a leader, you take on that responsibility, there are certain expectations already placed on you automatically. Now, for a religious leader, the foremost expectation is that you should be holy.
Exactly.
By all means, you should be holy. And if you have skeletons in your cupboard, just pray those skeletons do not get released.
Okay, talking about that, you know, Pastor Kafo chose not to address the allegations. In fact, is silence a wise legal strategy in this situation now? You know, he chose not to address the situation, as he said. He said he's not going to respond to a mad devil. Should a pastor even make such, should a pastor use such a line? He said he will not respond to a mad devil. So Pastor Kafo chose not to address the allegations. Is silence a wise legal strategy or a moral risk in a situation like this? How do you interpret Pastor Kafo's silence? Is it golden or a way of absconding from the truth?
Well, in my own opinion, I would say, what does the law say when you are accused? You know, when the whole accusation and stuff, I said there are always going to be, there are two sides to the story. There's the actress Doris Ogala, the accuser. There's a side of the story, and then the accused, Pastor Chris Okafor. There is a side of the story. Now, there was the part where she was arrested, and later released. The truth of the matter is, we don't have the facts of what happened in the process of that arrest and the release. What was she arrested for? Because what she has done is tantamount to, you can call it a defamation of character, you can call it false allegation. In fact, you can call it a form of blackmail, definitely. But we do not have the full facts of what went on with the arrest. Was the arrest carried out legally? What was she being charged with? What was she reported to have done, to have been arrested? You know, and so many rumors are surrounding that. So in this case, I'm going to give my answer in two places. I'm going to be looking at it from 2 points of views. Legally, in being silent was the right thing to do, because when it comes to both the court of law and the court of public opinion, you have to be careful what you say, especially when you are the one being accused. The thing about accusation is that the burden is on the accuser to bring proof. The burden is not on the accused to actually bring proof. But in Nigeria, we've somehow twisted it and made it, oh, you are being accused, you must prove that you are not guilty. No. The accuser must prove that I accuse this person of doing this and I have evidence that he has done it. So him being silent is good. It would have been best if he had made no statement on the matter at all. And, you know, he had just allowed his legal team to handle things. And I'm sure his lawyers must have advised him to stay silent, because when it comes to the law, and this is the most important thing, court of public opinion is powerful, indeed. But the truth of the matter is, court of public opinion cannot jail you.
Yes.
They can't kill you. The most they will do is smear mud on you. But the court of law is still the most respected institution for justice in this country. As fantastically, I put air quotes in the air for that, as fantastically corrupt as Nigeria is being described to be, the court of law is still the most important court when it comes to getting justice.
All right, viewers at home, you are listening to, you're watching Esteem Radio Vision, and this is the CONFAB. You can see we are talking about different stories, and the one we are dwelling on right now is a story that surrounds Pastor Chris and actress Doris Ogala. Please stay, don't go anywhere, stay glued on Esteem Radio Vision, and don't forget to leave a comment for us on the comment section, react, and you can also share. All right, Ohunayo, You know, what message does the presence of senior pastors at the wedding send to the public? A lot of Nigerians have been asking, why? Why did CAN keep quiet? I mean, CAN is a body, Christian Association of Nigeria. In matters like this, they're supposed to respond. In fact, one of the netizens, while I was reading, while I was researching, one of the netizens said something like, when Trump said Nigeria is a country of particular concern, this whole thing about genocide, CAN came out to say that there's no genocide in Nigeria, right? So this netizen was asking, why did CAN keep quiet over matters like this? Especially as it concerns our faith, as it concerns religion, Christianity. Why did CAN keep quiet? So what message does the presence of senior pastors at the wedding send to the general public? Especially people that may not be that too religious. You know, we have people, just like you said, that Nigeria is a religious country, but there are still people in this Nigeria who are not as religious as others.
Indeed.
So what message do you think the presence of the senior pastors could possibly send to the general public?
Well, let me begin with this. You know, at the beginning I mentioned the two courts, courts of law and courts of public opinion. So the presence of senior pastors at the wedding does not send any message. Actually, if we look at it critically, the person getting married is a pastor. And not just any pastor, a popular pastor, an influential pastor. So when you look at that, I believe it's natural to see top Christian leaders attending his wedding.
It's natural.
It's natural. He extended an invitation. I can assure you that he must have invited many other pastors and stuff to witness, you know, his wedding. And, you know, some of them, for some reason or the other, would have declined and some would have accepted. It is not to pass any message. It's because marriage at its most natural form is an institution, and it was instituted by God Almighty. So their presence there is not to pass any message or to show any form of solidarity, but just to witness a union of man and woman.
But you know, before sorry
culturally
to come in. You know, before any wedding takes place, there's always this question. I don't know if you've heard. If you have anything against this couple, any reason whatsoever you don't want them to get married, come forth, say something. You understand? And this lady, Doris, actress Doris, has actually come out to say something. Her reason, the wedding shouldn't hold. That's what we are talking about. She should be sidelined, disregarded, ignored, even when she has voiced out. Because we have scenarios or situations whereby, if it was to be much later after the wedding, people would have asked, why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you say something? But now somebody has actually spoken something. Do you think it is right as she was ignored?
Well, this is one of the things that we do get wrong in Nigeria.
Okay.
So you see, before the wedding, he is the pastor of his church. So someone's opinion on why the wedding should not take place or not doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. There are churches that enforce that, and there are churches that don't really enforce that.
Okay.
So if we're being truthful, it depends on the doctrine that they are practicing in that church.
In that church.
So it depends on the doctrine. So she stood out, she came out, and but at that time, she didn't provide any evidence. People thought, oh, she's angry that she's guilty. I mean, we've seen that happen before where, you know, someone felt bad that someone, you know, this one was a case of a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and she felt bad that her boyfriend broke up with her and is moving on with another girl. And, you know, because
so it's a
she
case
had
of breakup
and influence, you know, she almost got the guy in jail because she accused him of so many things. And like I said, you know, the netizens, the public opinion this time, they were actually balanced. They wanted to see evidence, which she didn't provide till after the wedding. So at the end of the day, when you look at the chain of events, you're still going to see that it all boils down to the fact that she just wants a pound of flesh back. She wants a pound of flesh back because the pastor jilted her. That's the truth of the matter.
Okay, so talking about evidence, activist VDM, Very Dark Man, said claimed to have evidence. What are the dangers of trying cases on social media?
The dangers of trying cases on social media, sincerely, is one of the most important things, like I said, is when you look at what public opinion does. Public opinion can, you know, meddle a legal case. It can corrupt a lot of things. For example, if there's evidence of wrongdoing, there are appropriate channels that evidence needs to be tendered. When you tender evidence on social media, what's the name? Instead of the court of law, where it should be tried, one of the things you risk is evidence contamination. One, mob justice. You have already, you know, the people are already judge, jury, executioner, even before it has been proven that anyone is guilty or innocent. Defamation and irreversible reputational damage. That's the worst of all. Reputation is like smoke. Once it goes up, that's all. It's done. So reputation is something, and that's why you see a lot of influencers nowadays are fighting as hard as possible. If anyone slanders them or says something, even remotely negative about them, they take it up because they understand that once you lose your reputation,
you've lost everything.
It's gone. You've lost everything. So it's actually very important that we, as the public now, I'm talking to the public now, it's very important that before we judge any case, let's look at the evidence. Let's look at what the law says. Wait till the end of the matter, because this is a religion related case. It's a church case. I'm going to quote from the Bible. It says, "Let us hear the end of the matter before we make our judgment." That's where I'm going to stop for now.
Thank you so much, Ohunayo. But then we will just move to the next topic, the next story here, because we have actually dwelt on that of actress Doris and Pastor Chris. So let's move to the next one here. We have Nigerian Bar Association, an article teaming up to call for the suspension of the new tax law. The Nigerian Bar Association and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar on Tuesday raised serious concerns over alleged post-legislative alterations to the recently enacted Tax Reform Act, calling for the immediate suspension of their implementation. In a statement on Tuesday, the president of NBA, the president of Mazi Afam Osiwe, said the controversies surrounding the laws threaten the integrity, the transparency, and credibility of Nigeria's legislative process. In fact, he warned that the issues strike at the heart of constitutional governance and called for a comprehensive, open and transparent investigation to restore public confidence. Now, this is where we are going to public confidence. Now, what legal powers does the Nigerian Bar Association have in questioning, in challenging this process? I mean, do you think the Nigerian Bar Association have the power to question or challenge the process?
To challenge the process? Well, the first thing we need to understand is what brought about this challenge in the first place. It came, I believe, all this started when the tax law was ratified by the National House of Assembly. And then the senator stood up and he said, this is looking different from what we passed. There have been alterations made. So constitutionally, first of all, that is wrong. How do you, if you are in the corporate settings, and this is one of the arguments we have always tried to make politically, that until Nigerians start seeing politics as like a corporate settings, because for those who work in a corporate settings, you understand that if you should present a document for approval to your boss, and they approves, and then you alter that document in any way, you have committed a crime. So the legal powers that the NBA has, first of all, is not that they have any power constitutionally or executive power to challenge this, but they do have what I would call an enormous moral power. Now, you see, they don't have the constitutional power, they don't have the legal power, they are not vested with executive powers to meddle in this situation, but they have what? A moral power, because it is the moral obligation of everyone to call out wrongdoing. And when you look at this situation, one of the things the NBA can do is to challenge the laws in court. If the laws are unfair, if the laws are being tampered with, if the laws are not being, if they are not being interpreted the right way, the NBA has the right to stand up and say, no, this is wrong. We stand against this. Another thing they can do is they can mobilize judicial review, just as what they are asking for. That there should be a review of the tax laws. Because these alterations that have been made can either be for good or for bad. But the most important thing is that it should not have happened in the first place at all. The alterations should not have been made at all.
At all. Okay, now, is suspending the implementation of the Tax Reform Act the right step? Yeah, is it the right step, or should there be another approach? The NBA is calling for the suspension, but do you think suspending the implementation will be the right step?
Well, there were two steps they could have taken.
Okay.
The first
That's
is the
apart
one,
from the suspension.
No, including the suspension.
Okay.
There are two steps. One is the suspension that they are asking for, and the second one would have been usage of court injunctions. But I think they are going for the suspension because it's faster. Because if they were to go for court injunctions, that's going to be lengthy.
The process would have
it's going to cause a lot of confusion, and there's going to be investor panic. There's going to be, because when the court injunction is going on, it's going to put a stop to a lot of things first. A lot of processes will be held on embargo, which can cause, Nigeria as a country, we need that foreign investment. And, if the investors are scared, because they don't know what is going on, they don't know what's going to end up happening due to the tax law or not, it can cause a lot of confusion, economically, structural-wise, and development-wise for the nation. So I feel like temporarily the suspension is good. It is damage control. It is just, let us review this, if it is for the good of the Nigerian people, because every law must be for the good of the nation. It has to be for the good of the nation. So, yes.
So everyone would benefit, both the masses and the elites.
Definitely.
So what immediate impact might this have on Nigerians? I'm asking you now as a Nigerian, because we just talked about enacting a law that will favor both the masses and the elite. So what immediate impact do you think this might have on ordinary Nigerians and small business owners?
Well, one thing I'm going to mention is right now there's a lot of uncertainty. People are not sure what's going to happen. There's a lot of information, both government-backed and non-government-backed, state-backed individuals, state-backed organizations, state-backed influence, non-state-backed individuals, non-state-backed organizations, and non-state. Everybody is putting out their opinions on this matter. Some are telling you, don't be afraid, the new tax law is for our good.
Exactly.
When the tax is done, Nigeria will enjoy it, we'll get better electricity. And then some are saying, there's this level of poverty and you still want to tax people. And now you have even gone to the extent of altering laws, so much so that the National House of Assembly are not sure what they passed anymore. And there's a lot of information going around. There's this uncertainty. There's a lot of confusion. And now the penalties, we don't even know what the penalties are. I saw one and they were like, if you miss your tax due to one reason or the other, the government has the right to determine how much you are paying. And I'm like, but why? There should be a normal calculation. I mean, you just want to determine how much I'm paying for tax, if I'm underpaying or overpaying. That does not seem right. This uncertainty, and now there's going to be reduced business confidence. That's the worst that's going to happen. Nigeria as it is needs more production. Nigeria as it is needs more life injected into the economy. And then a lot of people are going to be scared to go into business because of the new tax laws. And this is why that review is important. We need to know what it's all about. What are the clauses? Transparency is one big issue in this country, and this time, transparency needs to be enforced by all means.
Okay, thank you so much. And viewers at home, thank you for staying with us. Keep watching STEM Radio Vision. And if you're just joining us on the show, this is the CONFAB, where we look at different stories making waves in our nation, Nigeria. And with me in the live studio this morning is Ajiboye Ohunayo. Right now, we are moving to the last story on the show this morning. And we have the federal government taking down, the federal government has ordered to take down terrorist social media accounts. Terrorist social media accounts, not everybody's account. So you don't need to panic. The headline says, federal government orders take down of terrorist social media account. This is the last story this morning that we'll be looking at. The federal government disclosed that Nigerian security agencies are working with major social media companies to identify and take down accounts used by terrorists and criminal groups to promote their activities and also to raise funds. Speaking at the end of year briefing in Abuja on Tuesday, the Director General of the National Counter-Terrorism Center in the person of Major General Adamu Laka said that platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and even X had been used by terrorists. See the word they had been used by terrorists to publicize their operations and also to display looted items and communicate with their supporters. According to him, security agencies have held several engagements with social media companies to address posts and accounts that pose threats to national security. He even noted that terrorist tactics continue to evolve, including the use of alliances, unverified accounts, adding that security agencies are even constantly adapting to counter such developments. He said ransom payments remain a major source of terror financing, with POS, point of sale operators, increasingly exploited to move funds. Now, he explained that in many cases, ransom payments are even transferred to accounts belonging to POS operators, who then release the cash to kidnappers, making tracking very, very difficult. Now, I want to ask, Ohunayo, do you agree with this? What's your thought on this? Do you agree?
Well, I think we had a conversation on one of our, on an episode of the CONFAB where we talked about how the culture in Nigeria now is that majority of our government officials, they allegedly they are abusing their power most of the times. So one of the things is this social media ban of a thing is, do you know, the public does not have any trust or confidence in the government right now. We don't. We do not have trust in the government right now. So the government coming out with, oh, we want to ban social media accounts of terrorists. They can tag anybody a terrorist. You could criticize the government and then boom, your account is banned.
You're labeled as a terrorist.
And you're labeled as a terrorist. This, I believe, is the biggest fear in the heart of everyone. So I believe at this moment, caution is needed, because social media, we see social media as the place where we can express our freedom of speech. And once you have passed any law, or you are in the process of passing a law that makes people afraid to express their opinion, then we are on the way to tyranny.
So, but do you really believe that terrorists on social media, they make use of all this social media mentioned here?
Yes, of course. There are people, they have access to the internet, so they are using social media. That is true.
So, can you explain why terrorists and criminal groups are using social media platforms?
Well, if you look at social media, it's easily accessible. A lot of people use social media for a lot of things. One, entertainment. Two, communication. You discover that people find it easier to communicate on social media than even communicating face-to-face.
Sure.
So, ditto for the terrorists, they can communicate with each other on social media. One, for the anonymity of social media. I mean, I could create a social media account, I could put a cartoon, nobody knows it's me. I could put
with a different name.
With a different, except the social media account. And my privacy is being protected. So yes, that's one of the biggest reasons why I believe that, yes, they do use these platforms. And we've also seen a lot of TikTok videos of these terrorists, after attacking a place, they come on live to boast, to try and dampen the morale of the people through their actions. So that's where I was trying to go before. Like, if the government wants to do this, they have to do it right, because one misstep, the public has no trust in the government already. So if they should make any mistake, they will lose whatever ounce of respect and whatever goodwill the people have for them. Because if, like I said, imagine you criticizing the government and then your social media account gets taken down and you're labeled a terrorist for criticizing the government, for exercising your civic rights. That's wrong. But it's been done. It's been done. It's been done.
So how do all these unverified accounts make it harder for security agencies to track this group of people? I mean, how does this unverified account make it harder for security agencies to track these groups?
Well, like I mentioned, the anonymity. So it means one person, one terrorist can actually open 10 social media accounts and manage those 10 social. So you've discovered that one social media account is linked to terrorism, you shut it down, there are still 9 other accounts. But see, everything is all about the approach, especially in a delicate situation like this, that affects free speech and the freedom of expression. So we really have to be careful, because when our security agencies are complaining of not being able to track, it's actually funny, because you know, it has happened that we've seen it on Twitter where the security agencies will tell you that it takes them less than 10 minutes to track you through your Twitter account. So what do you mean you can't track terrorists, but you can track a citizen that is criticizing the government? Someone criticized the former president, the late president, Muhammadu Buhari. You know, his wife was criticized. And, you know, before 24 hours were up, he was tracked. And he was arrested and jailed even. So what do you mean you are having difficulties tracking terrorists if you can track someone like that? So the anonymity of social media does not mean you cannot be tracked when it comes to issues of national security. And I will use the word of netizens as they say. They say our security agencies can actually work when they are motivated to work. They just don't want to work.
When they're motivated.
So I see this as just an excuse.
So talking about approach now, what approach would you suggest?
Well, the biggest approach that I would suggest is to improve our security agents, their level of technology. I mean, it's funny that even kids in America have access to devices, they have access to technical knowledge that they can use to track down people on social media. I mean, there's literally a guy on Facebook that you can record a video from any location in the world and you tell him, I dare you to track me. He will not just track you, he will track you down to the town you live. He will track you to the very street, to the very time you did that video. Do you know how amazing that is for one human being? He's not a government agent, he's not a security guy, he's just a normal guy that does content on Facebook. If he can do that, then how about our security agents? They are trained on taxpayers' money. They are being funded by the government. Definitely they have access to more technology than a normal citizen will. So what are they saying? What do you mean you cannot track the owner of an account? I mean, let's look at the process of opening up, of opening any social media account. Your real account is there. So if we are talking about privacy laws, yes, privacy laws are there to protect you. But also remember that that is in the situation where you do not break the law. When you have broken the law, it's a breach of trust. And if it's an issue that involves national security, I'm sure that there are always outliers. So there would have been fail-safes. Okay, we are the social media companies, like we have the right to protect your privacy, but if you break the law or you become a danger to national security, we can review who you are, because that is the civic duty of everyone. So when it comes to the approach is our security agencies, whatever they need, the government should provide. But banning social media accounts is a very thin line. It's a very, very thin line, because at the end of the day, who are the terrorists?
That's a very good question. Who are the terrorists? Viewers at home, keep listening. You are still on the CONFAB on Esteem Radio Vision. And with you is Chidinma Abel, and I also have Ajiboye Ohunayo. Please try and leave a comment for us, react to what we are discussing, and if possible, you could also share it. Right now, before we wrap up the show, we are at the verge of wrapping it up though. So before we wrap it up, Ohunayo, I would like you to give your parting advice, remark, whatever remark you have for Nigerians with respect to the stories we have analyzed so far.
Well, let's first talk about, the first topic we discussed, Pastor Chris Okafor and Doris Ogala. One of the things we need to understand is power demands accountability. Power demands accountability. And if you are a religious leader, a political leader, you are in one leadership position or the other, you have to be mindful of your actions. It doesn't matter if it's your private matter. Listen, once you become a leader, you have no privacy again. You have no privacy again. Your very actions, your talk, your deed, everything you do reflects not just you, but the people you represent as a leader. And if you look at this case, this has just brought more stain to the church. Because you are going to see a lot of people saying that's how they do, that's how all those so-called pastors, they are all fake men of God. They all use God to cover up. They are all perverts, they are all this, they are all that, they are after your money. And, you know, it can lead to Christians, a lot of people, if they are not very rooted in their faith, a lot of Christians will lose their faith. Because the question will be, why does this keep happening every time? So that is very important. So when you are in the position of a leader, accountability is important. You have to be accountable. You have to be careful. And you have to remember that everything you do is under scrutiny. Now, with regards to, what's the name again? With regards to the NBA and the former Vice President Atiku, you know, calling for a suspension of the tax law, all I will say is that the government should listen to the people, because at this moment, the NBA and Atiku, what they are doing is the will of the people currently. The people do not want this law. Given everything surrounding it, they do not want it. We do not want it. The people do not want it. We don't want a law to be passed that we don't know the ramifications of it on the people. Let the law be reviewed, and if it is reviewed and it's determined that it has been passed for the good of the Nigerian populace, for the good of the nation, then there's no reason why it should not go. But if it has been discovered that indeed alterations were made that have negative connotation on the people, or it will bring more hardship on the people, then another review should be made on things that can be changed about that law. Tax is not a problem. Tax is not bad. Every developed nation pays tax. But when the government is trying to, you know, play some sort of magic, they're trying to do some sort of abracadabra with the tax laws, given how sensitive taxing is in this country, because a lot of people have been complaining that the taxes, we are being taxed everywhere. You buy recharge card, you are being taxed for it. You are paying VAT on that recharge card. You want to transfer money from one bank account to another, you are being taxed already. You know, and they call it black tax. For everything you buy, you are being taxed, because you find out that the original price and the price at which you are buying it, something has been added to it. And then you are bringing up tax laws again to tax people. So, like, we need to have, you know, the Nigerian populace just needs clarity on this. So the government should listen to the will of people. And finally, on the last topic, which is about banning terrorists. It is a good idea, but the government has to proceed with caution. Because the government needs to assure us that it will not abuse its power. And right now, we do not have that confidence in the government, because we have seen so many cases of such laws being passed, and at the end of the day, it leads to an abuse of power. So that will be my parting remark.
Thank you so much, Ohunayo, for making yourself available on the CONFAB.
Well, thanks for having me.
And I'll look forward to having you again.
Definitely, I would love to be here the next episode too.
Okay, and to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for staying with us. And we look forward to having you again on the CONFAB, and not just on the CONFAB, on all our programs coming your way. Remember that Esteem Radio Vision is here for you. Yes, your priority is our concern. Okay, my appreciation also goes to our CEO in the person of Deacon Ajiboye, Michael Asholu. Thank you so much for all what you do for the community and for this arm of Eniakmole Foundation. Thank you so much. And also to our producer in the person of Afolabi Adenikbekun. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning with us. We really appreciate you. Keep watching Esteem Radio Vision. Don't forget to react. Don't forget to comment and share this program to all of the people around you. Thank you so much. I still remain Chidinma Abel. Good afternoon. you.